𝗖𝗀 2019 is the 2019th installment of 𝗖𝗀s. Another known fact about it is that it's bad. Or is it? Well, I'll answer that question today by myself because I like talking about virtual Lego eggs. 𝗖𝗀 2019, waste of our time. The 2019 Roblox 𝗖𝗀 is fairly disappointing. Best and worst eggs of 2019. Surely with titles like these, you'd imagine 𝗖𝗀 2019 was a complete disaster. The amount of criticism this 𝗖𝗀 received was record-breaking, but I've always had a different opinion. You see, while everyone else was critiquing this event, and reasonably so, I was lurking in the shadows, writing my first ever review for my channel about this very 𝗖𝗀, filled with hilarious jokes and takes hotter than the sun. However, I ended up never making this review, and it was forgotten to time, until now. Well, actually, this review will work a little differently. This time around, unlike my 𝗖𝗀 2020 review, I'll be taking a look at this event in a less generalized way, going through each individual developer egg objective. Not to mention, I will cover the 𝗖𝗀 2019 lobby, the egg objectives there, and the sponsored section in that game as well. So, let's travel into the future by a few seconds to talk about 𝗖𝗀 2019, scrambled in time. Yeah, so 58 different eggs are in this 𝗖𝗀, and I'll talk about all of them. 𝗖𝗀 2019 is notorious for having too many games, having the most amount of developer-integrated games out of any Roblox event. Well, besides 𝗖𝗀 2020 and Metaverse Champions at least. There are 42 different games in this 𝗖𝗀, and this presents an issue. With 42 different games, you have to learn how 42 different games play out and what their objectives are like. So what do I even start with? There's so much to choose from. Let's start off with something slow and steady, Speedrun 4. To get the egg in this game, you had to complete a totally brand new map made just for the event. For a game like Speedrun 4, I was certainly expecting more, and it's sad that they weren't even bothered to make a new map. 2 out of 10. Go on a rocket ship in a random map that appears sometimes. This is where we start to see a problem with this whole dev hunt concept, which is waiting for rounds. And the thing is, they can't make the rounds super common because that is going to get really repetitive for normal players. I can't even think of a solution for this. I guess just make an objective that doesn't involve going into a round, but even that is flawed. It just doesn't work. Anyways, this objective was fine, I guess. 4 out of 10. Like Speedrun 4, they reused a previous event map for this event. The egg randomly spawned every 30 seconds around a map made for the Universe 2018 event. This wasn't a very fun objective, as all you had to do was just teleport around the cubes that I had already collected in order to hopefully find the egg. 2 out of 10. In order to get the egg, you needed to wait for an Eastern dragon to go low enough for you to touch it. This objective was really weird, mostly due to the hitboxes. However, I believe it fixes the issue I talked about in Rocket Escape, since this dragon appears in every round. And it balances the difficulty a bit because only 1, or maybe 2 I forgot, people can get the egg per round. Pretty good, 6 out of 10. I'll be honest, I only like this egg due to its design, otherwise it's really not that special. 5 out of 10. Hey guys, do you want to wait for a special round again, except this time you can have a chance to be excluded from the objective altogether anyway? Oh wait, that's just the eggs on Ice Egg. You had to collect 3 egg fragments to get this egg, although good luck with salty taggers who by chance were not allowed to participate in this objective. It was alright I guess, 5 out of 10. Just join a VIP server and wait a little bit. Or alternatively, you can actually try and obtain the egg in a public server, but nah, 5 out of 10. Score a goal with the egg. Yeah, not that interesting. I guess it's subjectively satisfactory. 5 out of 10. Kill a zombie that has the egg. Again, it's not a harmful objective, but it's so boring and uninspired. They could have at least made a new zombie type for this objective that's stronger or has some unique feature. 4 out of 10. This is honestly the weirdest experience I've laid my eyes on. It's just so colorful. Anyways, you want to use your fairy wings to collect Twinkle's pixie egg, which is actually just the whimsical egg, the wonderful. That was okay, although a little bit too short to be memorable. 5 out of 10. Bombs? Eggs? You want it? It's yours, my friend, as long as you have enough rubies. Well, more like enough bombs to blow up a purple crystal. My only nitpick with this egg is that only 1 person can collect it per round. I personally think this number should be increased to at least 2, although ideally 3. 6 out of 10. Just take the egg. Oh wait, it's now in my inventory. Take the egg outside, then it's in your Roblox inventory. It was fine, although I think they should have made a way to get it for the police team. Other than that, it was okay, 5 out of 10. Okay, this was a pretty cool objective from Roblox Death Run. You had to complete a custom map where you needed to gather rocks to destroy the 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃. This was a unique objective and I liked it, although maybe this should have taken place in a separate place. 7 out of 10. You know, the data lag was fun to get. I found the objective to be refreshing. You had to collect 3 different shards around the map in order to open up a hole in the maze. While the whole find this thing somewhere in this giant maze is infuriating, otherwise it's really cool. So cool in fact that somebody got the badge for the egg 2 years later after the event. 7 out of 10. Ah, my 𝗖𝗍𝗿𝗲𝗃𝗀𝗃. When I think of 𝗖𝗏𝑂N 2019, this is one of the main eggs that I think of, which is weird since the objective was nothing special. You had to win a round of King of the Egg, also known as just King of the Hill, but there's an egg in the center of the map as decoration. I don't know, it was just a fun objective. 7 out of 10. I think 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗃𝗀𝗃's egg was the funniest, as it benefited normal players a lot. You had to use a specific boat that, mind you, was extremely bad, and get the shark to crack it open. It must have been a fun time to be a 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗃 player at this time. 4 out of 10. Have fun doing this one in a public lobby. Whoever approved this objective clearly wanted chaos in the Roblox community. 2 out of 10. Maybe it's just that I'm not a guy who likes solving puzzles, especially for a Roblox event where I just usually want to turn off my brain, but I did not like this objective as much as everyone. It doesn't do anything wrong, in fact it does a lot of things right. I like the map, it looks beautiful, the puzzles were probably fine, but I used a tutorial because like I said, I don't really like solving puzzles. For this reason, I'll add 3 extra points for my rating, 8 out of 10. The egg Titanic was not fun to get because of how long this game is, and guess what? You can't do this objective if the game is in progress. Just, no. The objective doesn't make up for it either, 4 out of 10. Do not touch the red ones. Well done, 𝗏𝗍𝗍𝗃, you got the chaotic egg of catastrophes, yay! It's still getting a low rating, like if you played 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n 2019 and got this egg, you'd remember how long it took for the stupid Easter Island round to show up. Screw this egg, 2 out of 10. Hey, wait a minute, this is 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n 2018. That's the previous 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n. A lot of people found this decision to be weird, but I actually found it to be such a perfect choice for this 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n. Listen, hear me out. Scrambled in time. Let that sink in. In fact, I believe they should have included way more past events in 𝗖𝗏𝗄�ns. That would have been so cool. This was such a missed opportunity, and I believe this specific objective shows off the potential of this 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n if it actually followed the time-traveling theme. Also, at the time, this was meant to be the very last Roblox event of all time, and so going back to the previous 𝗖𝗏𝗄ns and such would have been like a cool way to show off what events were like and how much they've evolved over the years. But I'm getting a bit sidetracked. The objective itself, I'm not gonna lie, is very lame. People overhype this egg simply because it's from 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n 2018, guys, and 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n 2018 equals good. I like the custom world they made, and I like the reference they made to the egg that was the main reason behind the entirety of 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n 2018, but the objective was so infuriating to do. 8.5 out of 10. This was definitely one of the weirder eggs. You had to ram your car into a random crystal and collect the egg afterward. I have literally no idea what this has to do with the game, the egg design, or the 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n in general, but alrighty then, 4 out of 10. Yep, we've made it to my favorite objective of the entire 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n, not including the lobby objectives, of course. You had to fuel a rocket in a brand new map made for the event and launch off to get the egg. Honestly, doing this objective was stupidly fun. It was, in a way, related to the time travel theme due to being a recreation of an old Roblox game. It didn't clash too much with normal rounds as it was just a new game mode for people to try out. And most importantly, it was fun and didn't feel unfair or rigged. Amazing egg that I had a great experience with, 9 out of 10. This was an egg. I don't even know what to say without just feeling weird. It's kind of like that fairy game egg from before. I mean, it was just a fetch quest egg, it wasn't anything special. Maybe it would have been cooler if you had to complete a short obstacle course or puzzle, because it's just go to this specific spot and then go back. 4 out of 10. Why are there so many eggs that have commas in their name in this 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n? Anyways, this sucked. Like, it was actually atrocious to get. You had to firstly collect one egg, play around, then collect another egg, play around, and then collect one more egg and play one last round, before finally getting this egg. Honestly, you can tell this egg wasn't made out of love for the 𝗖𝗏𝗄�n, but to promote the game and to gain as many players as possible. However, I believe that all it did was place a negative image onto this game for me. 1 out of 10. On the other hand, I think the Flight of the Bumble Egg from Bee Swarm Simulator was a much better way to introduce the game it's in. It gives simple objectives that are related to the core gameplay, for example, collecting pollen for NPCs. It was an enjoyable experience, and if I cared enough to dedicate hundreds of hours to a Roblox game, anyways, it was good, 7 out of 10. Equip the ballerina gear in-game and win any round. Yeah, I don't think I need to explain the rating for this one. Pretty much the same problem as the egg tanic, except it's 10 times worse because you need to get other people to hopefully give you the egg out of the kindness of their heart. 1 out of 10. I like how we're just flip-flopping between dreadful and exquisite objectives. The Egg Scream objective is one of the best examples of how to attract players to this game using the event, while also not being a complete cash grab. To get this egg, you have to go to a brand new subworld made just for the event, and collect 4 mini eggs to get the big egg. It was a really fun introduction to Robot 64, and I had a fun time getting this egg. The world, despite being simplistic, has its charm and personality, and stands out to me. It's the only objective that I went back to and recorded in 1080p with no Bandicam watermarks back in 2019, so yeah, 9 out of 10. The newborn spotted egg definitely exists, alright. The obby was cool, I guess. I don't have anything to say about it. 5 out of 10. This objective is just propaganda for exterminating chickens. They drop cool eggs if you kill enough of them. Also, can I just mention how terrible this objective is? Like, I can only imagine how excruciating it must have been to be an Arsenal player at this time. This integration was done very poorly for a game like this, and it just gives me flashbacks to Phantom Force's Ready Player One objective. 1 out of 10. I really enjoyed this one. Other than the Robloxian High School 2 quiz, which, let's be honest here, we all looked up a guide for, this objective was one of the funnest ones that I've done in this event. I really liked the integration. It felt like something that belonged to the game, and it actually made you turn on your brain, but not in a way like the Egg Dini, where it might be pushing it a bit too much. Also, this weight quiz probably helped me in my intuition to calculate weights in the gym. Nice. 8 out of 10. Guys, it's Prismatic Games, lol, get it, because I have a friend named Prismatic. Okay, only like 3 people understood that joke. Anyway, it was okay. I feel like if the map was designed after a time period from the past or the future, then it would be cooler. 5 out of 10. Now this is an example of what the Too Fast 2 Egg could have been. Well, I guess it's because the game is already a game based in the past. Still, it was fun. 7 out of 10. Once again, I can't imagine how annoying it must have been to be a normal player playing this game at the time. Imagine the whole point of the objective being to go against the normal gameplay. I can't really say much about this objective. It was boring to do, but I don't like how it interferes with normal players. 2 out of 10.
This was probably the easiest egg in the egg hunt. All you had to do is just get lucky. I can't really add much more. 4 out of 10.
Do you ever look around you and just look at the world and feel like kind of like we're in the Egg Tricks? Anyways, Egg Tricks. It was essentially a fetch quest, but I enjoyed it. I don't know, it was just calming to do. I like that it's loosely related to the game. 7 out of 10. The objective for this egg was it was definitely something, alright? You had to firstly get to a specific tunnel on the map, which is way more annoying than I make it sound. Then a cutscene will start playing where we will clip through all the terrain in this game and see the egg itself. However, you're not done because you still need to kill the giant robot thing that the egg somehow constructs. For some reason, the weak point of this boss is the teeth. Also, when you take damage, your screen inverts colors for some reason. This whole egg was just weird, man. Maybe if the boss fight was more engaging and not as buggy and scuffed, then it would get a higher rating, but props for trying, I guess. 4 out of 10. Oh man, I sure do love walking. Man, I wish they made a game out of that. Oh wait, that's already a thing? And they made an objective about it for EggCon 2019? Great, that means I can give another low rating. 1 out of 10. I like that it's related to the gameplay of backpacking, but it just wasn't a fun objective. The fact that you could just buy a game pass and make this objective free is just beyond me. I just had someone else activate the egg nano for me because I don't want to give this game money or search in random places of this rather expansive map for some egg objective. 2 out of 10. The book bag is another one of my favorites from this event. You had to get an A in 4 minigames. These 4 minigames were dodgeball, thermal reaction, sword fighting, and disco spleef. I feel like all of these minigames were really fun, and I like the inclusion of thermal reaction as I've never seen anything like it before. It's a cool and original idea that could be made into its own Roblox game. Seems like Roblox high school games really know how to make egg objectives fun. 8 out of 10.
Oh no, rabbit loose egg. Kill the NPC to get it back and give it to sad rabbit. He will give you egg. Yippee! It's not a harmful objective, but it's also nothing that interesting. 5 out of 10. Here's another egg that I cheesed by just looking up a tutorial, although this one isn't as good as the 𝗧𝗍𝗍𝗍. It was still alright, maybe a little buggy at times and hard to learn, but it was alright. I'll give it some bonus points to bump it up because, again, not much of a puzzle guy, at least at the time when this event took place. 6 out of 10.
And that is all 42 developer-made quests, with an average score of 4.72, or well, let's just round it up to a 5 out of 10. We get a fairly abysmal score. There was a lot of variety in the objectives in this egg hunt, and that's the main problem of developer-ran egg hunts. Also, can I just mention that pretty much every single egg other than the egg of origin and the lobby eggs were released a day early? Speaking of eggs released on time, let's talk about the lobby eggs.
This, in my opinion, is what makes 𝗧𝗏𝗀 2019 a lot better than, for example, 𝗧𝗏𝗀 2015. The fact there is still a central hub for all of the eggs, even if it is a little whack, makes this egg hunt feel like it has something going for it. The design of this lobby area is a little underwhelming to say the least. I don't even know how someone looked at this and said, yup, that's good enough to me. While in my original 𝗧𝗏𝗀 2019 review, I was going to bring up the point that the lobby isn't even that bad. Nope, it definitely is that bad. Stretched out decals, the portals being unorganized, the colors not matching with one another, it's just a mess and could have been easily improved. If I had to make this lobby, I'd make it in a similar vein to the fan-made 𝗧𝗏𝗀 2020 lobby, where it is specified where which game will take you, what egg you will be getting from it, and maybe even the objective you had to do. It doesn't have to be as detailed, but surely it can be better than whatever this is. There's also a world that you can enter to collect extra eggs and progress the plot line of this egg hunt, so let's talk about it. I've gotta say, this world is beautiful. The lobby you enter in this world feels like they're from separate games, it's that good. This world kind of reminds me of a subrealm from 𝗧𝗏𝗀 2018, a simplistic yet to the point world with a few eggs. Well, this world is a little more than that, but still. And yeah, there are eggs in the lobby. In fact, there are 14 eggs total, so let's talk about them. Yay. Climb up a wall and touch it. While some people call this egg lazy, I find it as an interesting way to introduce the mechanic of wall climbing to the player in a safe environment. 7 out of 10. Find it randomly in this world I mentioned earlier. Kind of disappointing for an egg like this, since this was the egg that won the egg hunt egg design contest. 5 out of 10. To even be able to obtain this egg, you need to have at least 10 eggs collected from the egg hunt. I think that this is a great mechanic, and I like that it encourages you to actually collect the eggs. It's also a nice reward after doing some subpar developer eggs to do a fun little quest in the main lobby. Anyways, for this egg, you had to complete an obstacle course that is centered on the wall walking mechanic. I enjoyed it, and I liked the target puzzle at the start. 8 out of 10. Upon collecting 20 eggs, you were required to complete an obstacle course designed to test your telekinesis mechanic that you obtained from the telekinetic egg. The obstacle course in question was once again enjoyable and to the point. It incorporated both the telekinesis and wall walking mechanic well. 8 out of 10. 30 eggs are needed before you can do this objective, and it's my personal favorite power egg out of the 3. Yeah, they're called power eggs, I didn't know this beforehand as well. It involves you using the previous 3 powers to complete various puzzles. It's a lot better than the previous puzzles because it's simple yet forces you to think. I especially like the use of the time mechanic to grow a plant in order to climb it, and also having to place this star trophy on the counter to open up a door. Very cool, 10 out of 10. This one's kind of to me. The whole aesthetic of the puzzle looks weird to me. I get that it's sci-fi, but it's just way too bright and neon. Plus all the little purple enemy guys are so annoying to deal with. The puzzles presented weren't interesting either, just the same old really. I also would have appreciated a health bar or at least some indication for the mini boss fight at the end, since it's extremely difficult to tell whether you're actually damaging the boss or doing nothing. Overall, this egg is really flawed and seems rushed, at least compared to the previous objectives. 5 out of 10. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Yeah, so this has got to be one of the weirdest endings to an egg hunt so far. Instead of a typical 𝗧𝗏𝗺𝗍𝗺 where you have to just collect every, or at least most eggs, here you have to do a boss fight against 𝗧𝗏𝗃, or Evil Wick. He has 2 names for some reason. He's also the mysterious guy from the beginning who greeted us in the lobby. I kind of forgot to mention him though, since he's so insignificant. The boss fight itself is interesting to say the least. It just doesn't really flow well. There are so many awkward transitions and the whole thing feels rushed out. Even 𝗬𝗉𝗀 bosses feel less rushed and weird than this. There are so many small icks I have about it, like why is the boss just waiting almost every time to be damaged? Why does 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗃𝗀 make a convenient path for himself to be damaged? Why doesn't he fight back? This whole boss doesn't make any logical sense. The way I'd improve it is by adding more attacks and clearer indication for what to do. I'd also make more use of the arena, or at least make it slightly more decorated. It's just a cobblestone cylinder, it's nothing exciting. Maybe add some slight elevation or at least something to it. Just feels empty to me. Overall, this boss is and probably was rushed, and it could have been a lot better. And that's not even mentioning the bugs. There were a lot of bugs throughout every objective I've talked about, whether it be in the animations or just things not working properly. Anyway, after all of that, you can obtain the legendary egg. Just press the take the egg option and good job, then you get to see your legs collect the egg. However, if you were a weird little fella and decided to seal the egg, you got the 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗀. I'm so grateful that this isn't like the 𝗧𝗏𝗀 2016 nesting eggs, because that would have been really upsetting to pick between a rather lame egg and the 𝗧𝗵𝗺𝗃𝗀, especially without knowing what you get from sealing the egg without looking up a tutorial.
Apparently I forgot to give these two eggs a rating, but I'll give it a 5 out of 10 for trying, I guess.
Here's a fun fact for you. This is the only egg hunt that was ever sponsored. The only other egg hunt that was technically sponsored was 2017, but I mean, can you tell? I'll give you 5 seconds to guess who sponsored them. This was a trick question. It was none of them. It was actually McDonald's Happy Meal. Anyway, this year's egg hunt was sponsored by Marvel, more specifically Avengers Endgame, and because of that we got 6 new eggs and an infinity gauntlet for your efforts. Well, let's see what we were dealing with. Now, talking about each one of these eggs individually is going to get it repetitive quick. So the sections are going to be generally short, not including this one. So the obstacle courses featured are fairly fun. I like the Black Widow egg and the batons were pretty cool, I guess. This one was fairly easy and enjoyable to me, 8 out of 10. I guess the Iron Man egg was good, although I have a bit of personal beef with this egg because it was really difficult for me. Massive skill issue. The area is also aesthetically unpleasing in my opinion. It feels really cramped and could have used some more space, although the Iron Man glove mechanic is pretty cool, if a little basic. 6 out of 10. This one was my personal favorite. It utilized a fairly simple mechanic with the shield, which is essentially a boomerang, in a fun and unique way. I enjoyed getting this egg, I wasn't bored and quite engaged. Nice, 9.5 out of 10. I think the Captain Marvel eggs mechanic could have been used more interestingly, like revealing secret paths or buttons or something by pressing it. It's just a more mindless version of the Iron Man gauntlet, 7 out of 10. This one was less one-dimensional than the other eggs. Instead of flying a ship to a temple on an island, you had to go find a key in a secret cave and then climb up to get Thor's Stormbreaker. The whole design of this area is neat. It looks nicer than every other area. Although in terms of gameplay, it's just the Captain Marvel egg with a different coat of paint and less engaging, 7.5 out of 10. And now for the grand finale, 𝗧𝗏𝗀. Once you collect the 5 eggs I talked about earlier, you get the egg and also the infinity gauntlet I mentioned earlier. This feels a little lazy and weird to me, like why not make a separate temple for Thanos? Maybe like a small boss fight? Although I guess that would have been a bit excessive. Another suggestion would be collecting hidden infinity stones throughout each temple, like a perfect example would be in the Captain Marvel egg, but whatever. I'll just give it the average rating out of all 5 eggs, -2 for unoriginality, 5.5 out of 10. So that's all of them now. Oh right, the 2 launcher eggs. So this year they decided to do the launcher eggs again, except now there's a video star egg. I don't understand why though. I feel like making a launcher for the developers who worked on this event would make more sense. You could also cheese this egg by just joining 𝗂𝗃𝗃's roleplay area, or by spending 500 golden eggs in 𝗧𝗏𝗀 2018, which devalued this egg a lot. The Eggman 2019 is in a similar situation. It was heavily destroyed by 𝗧𝗏𝗀 2018, but The eggs are alright, just typical launcher eggs. Okay, now that's all of them, all 58 of them. I guess we should discuss the main appeal of the eggs, which is their appearance. So let the transition slide move us to the next section.
Like I said, there's 58 eggs. There's no way I'll go into detail for every single egg, so I'll do the same thing I did with my 𝗧𝗏𝗀 2015 review, while I'll talk about the top 5 best and worst eggs. This time though, it'll be in my opinion. Not like back in 2019. Nuh-uh. Alright, let's start with the worst eggs this time, because last time I started with the best eggs. For my number 5 spot, I picked the Prima Ballerina. I just don't like humanoid eggs, honestly. Please stop trying to turn people into eggs, Roblox.
This egg actually looks amazing, however the massive grid pattern on it completely ruins the egg. And before someone says, actually that's there because that's how gravity works, like listen, no one cares, it's a Roblox egg for crying out loud. The scaled 𝗧𝗶𝗺𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗀 doesn't even look like an egg, to be honest. The design of it is alright, but I just don't really like the fact that it looks more like a short, obese dragon than an egg. This one suffers from the same issue as the previous egg, except it's uglier and most of the textures are weirdly low quality. And in last place, the 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃. It takes what made the previous 4 eggs bad and combines them all into one. It's got a weird shape, somewhat humanoid appearance, and not to mention the terrible colors. The little colored dots also look out of place. And now for my 5 personal favorites in terms of physical appearance, because that's all that matters. At number 5, we have the Video Star egg. I just really like how it fits the name. It's definitely a video star, alright. Plus the color combination of gold and purple is really good, and since the colors are complementary. Very nice egg. I love this egg because of the idea of a noob attack egg. It's executed well too, though I don't know why the noobs at the bottom are just hugging your head. It makes me feel slightly uncomfortable. Guys, I love Vaporwave. It's literally my desktop background, so of course I like this egg. I like the colors of the egg. The shape is a little weird though, which is why it's not number 1. I feel like if the egg of gravitation looked more like this, it would be so much better. Flight of the Bumble egg looks awesome. I love the dripping honey. I like that it has a little crack, the bees that surround the egg, the wings. It's awesome. I also like that it reflects the game it was featured in, Bee Swarm Simulator. And at the number 1 spot, the Egg Scream. This egg looks visually pleasing. It fits the game it's in, looks like an egg, but has a neat little quirk to it to make it stand out. What more could you ask for? All around awesome egg. The eggs this year were mostly mediocre, with some sticking out in a good and bad way. I personally prefer this year's eggs over last year's because most of them had an egg shaped and just looked more aesthetically pleasing. Some eggs that I really liked but didn't mention include Excellent Choices, Egg of Origin, Egg of Slow and Steady, Caped Egg Satyr, Telekinetic, and the Black Widow egg. Anyway, that's the prizes covered, so let's see what this event did right. Hi, pros and cons time. There were a lot of things that this event did right, and a lot that this event did wrong. So let's go over them, shall we? The lobby world this year looked fantastic, and I found the color choice of the world interesting. I don't think I can recall a single 𝗏𝗏𝗃 world that was pink beforehand, and I think they managed to make it look good, so good job actually. Most of the eggs looked either alright or good, which is applaudable in my opinion. Some of the developer objectives, like Noob Attack Egglander, Egg of Origin, Book Bag, Egg Scream, Scaled 𝗧𝗶𝗃𝗃𝗃, and more were satisfying to do. The sponsored portion of this event was well integrated and offered a unique challenge, which is always a plus. The 2 avatar accessories you could purchase for the event, the Wings of the Divine Butterfly and Dragonlord wings, look very good and offer good functionality in the lobby world. In fact, they're so good that you can cheese some of the sponsored eggs with it. I thought the power eggs were really cool and I liked the mechanics it introduced, even if they were a little buggy sometimes. And now for the cons, which there are a lot of unfortunately. The lobby area just looks horrible and does a terrible job at connecting this event together, if I'm being honest. The fact that there are 43 different games in this event makes it feel very overwhelming and unorganized, especially considering that most of the developers released their games early and the effort, time required, quality of each objective drastically varied. There were a lot of bugs and oversights, both in the developer games and lobby, that ended up making the event feel rushed out, which it probably was, but still doesn't excuse it. The story was so bland and uninspired that it almost feels like a last-minute addition. It's not as stupid as 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 2017, but it's pretty close. If it weren't for the boss, the story would be completely pointless. The boss fight is just terrible. It's buggy, confusing, and illogical, and the whole thing with picking between the 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 and the legendary is also weird, especially considering that the 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 is usually the final reward that you are always meant to get. There was a lot of missed potential for this event. I talked about what it could have been in the Egg of Origin section.
And well, that's all I have to say. I could go on and nitpick or praise every single developer objective, but I've already done that, so what's the point? Anyway, let's conclude this review and give this egg hunt a rating.
In conclusion, 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗃 2019 Scrambled in Time was an egg hunt that for some reason featured 42 different games in a custom-made hub. The objectives it offered varied in quality, ranging from horrendous to pretty great. Despite the fact that everybody hated this event due to the fact that the 𝗧𝗀 that preceded it was the best 𝗧𝗀 of all time according to most people, I still enjoyed it and thought it was fun. It was exciting to meet new people, discover leaks, and play through it. Now, do I think it's a good send-off to events? No, absolutely not. But as an event, it's really not as bad as most people made it out to be. It was still fun, and it's not nearly as much of a mess as what eventually followed. But those topics will be for another day. Or, well, you can watch them right after this video, but first let me give this 𝗧𝗀 a rating. I give 𝗧𝗀 2019 a nice and round 6 out of 10. Since the average rating of the games was a 5 out of 10, let's just say we give half the gameplay points. The event is fairly original for an 𝗧𝗀 as we haven't seen anything like it before, not even 𝗧𝗀 2015 is similar to 2019. The eggs this year were honestly better than usual, fight me. The building in this event in one world was amazing, and in the other complete garbage, so I only gave it 1 point. And there were a lot of bugs throughout the event, so I only gave it half a point. Also, I decided to give it half a bonus point for the experience it provided.
But as sad as it may seem, this will be the last 𝗧𝗀 that I ever review, other than re-reviews. I know, very sad, but I don't feel like reviewing any 𝗧𝗀s that came before 2015 because these are very old 𝗧𝗀s, and they obviously won't hold up to today's standards, so I feel like it wouldn't really be fair to review them. And well, also I didn't play them. But anyway, remember everyone, stay in school, don't do drugs, and remember that 𝗧𝗀s will forever have a place in my heart. I really do miss them. I'll see you in the next one.